Hey everybody, tonight we are going to do a feeding video, and well, right on cue there is one of the darters that we're going to be feeding tonight. I was about to say that now that I've been feeding my native tank on the bottom, specifically in the front center right there, the little tessellated darters that I have in this tank that initially I was really concerned about whether or not they were going to get enough food. They have learned where food comes from, and you can see that one's already there and waiting, and I can actually see the second one making his way into the foreground as well. So all I use is a piece of PVC pipe. I've got a little funnel on the end. I can then pour some thawed out bloodworms into the top of the funnel, goes down the pipe, and the food gets directly into the bottom of the tank rather than swirling around so all the other fish in the tank can get it. You can do this just as easily with a turkey baster. I just don't happen to have a turkey baster lying around. One of these days I'll pick one up when I think about it at the grocery store or whatever. But I've always done it this way. It's just easy. It's interesting, I've got a little minnow down there, is darting around and dashing around, and it almost looks as though it was chasing the darter as opposed to simply trying to get some of the bloodworms for itself. I'm not sure what that's all about. But that is the last of the bloodworms going in the tank. We can see the darter in there doing its thing, darting around. Got that second one coming up, will be on the left hand side. I think it's right behind that stick at the moment. I'm not sure where that's, yeah, you can see it popping out a little bit, I think there on the far left side of the screen. So they have figured out that that's where the food comes from. I still don't know what species they are. I'm going with the idea that they are both tessellated darters, and I'm doing that because of sheer probability. There is a darter called the Chesapeake darter, but that is in the Susquehanna Basin, and I actually am not in the Susquehanna Basin. I'm just outside it. Water here flows into the Gunpowder Basin, not Susquehanna. So I would not be in that area, even though if you look at the map of where that basin is, I'm right on the edge of the line. So the Chesapeake log perch is not one that would be around here, and it's an endangered species. And there are a few other that are considered really rare or would be sort of outside where my range is. The tessellated darter, however, is extremely common. It's in this area. It's all over the east coast of the United States, and there's a lot of pattern variation on all the different pictures of it that I was looking at. Every one of them looked a little slightly different. So there you can see that one is on the left now, kind of facing off to the left. That's the second one. Now he's just turned around giving us a look at its other side. That is the second one that I've not really gotten any good video of, but it looks different to me. It's different coloring. The markings are slightly different. So again, I don't know if I've got two different darters in this tank, two different species, or if they are both just variants on the common tessellated darter. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with the idea that they are both common tessellated darters because it is literally a very, very common fish in the area. So just from a probability standpoint, what's more likely, that I have some endangered species that doesn't really even live around here, or do I have some of the ones that are common and they're found in every body of water all over the East Coast? I'm going with the ones that are, you know, commonly found in every body of water along the East Coast is probably the ones that I've got. So if anybody, you know, got a good enough look at those that they might think that they are something other than the tessellated darter, let me know. We'll see if we can't zoom in a little bit here. So this is the one we've seen the most of, and this is actually giving you a little bit of a glimpse of what I've been talking about before with those little mosquito fish. They really do have a beautiful sort of pearly blue shine to them when you see them under the right conditions. They're really pretty little fish. Pretty little blue eyes too. So there's the one darter kind of hiding in the shadows down there. Can't see him real well. And I do not see where the other darter has gotten off to. Oh yeah, he's on the back side of that big white rock there, so we're not going to get to see him unless he comes back up to the forefront. And I also don't see any crayfish out crawling around at the moment. I can see two of them that are hiding. I can see two of them underneath the rocks in the tank, but they're not going to be worth getting any video of because they're literally just sticking their little feelers out from underneath of some rocks. And I see a third one that's hiding under a rock. That's really unusual for them to stay hidden like that when there's so much food in the tank. Now, I did have one of the crayfish that was in here the other day molted, and it was a paper shell when I touched it. And the whole rest of that evening, I saw it sitting out on that piece of wood that I'd found it on, and it was just sitting there with its claws splayed out in front of it, like it was basically drying out in the breeze, so to speak. And by the next morning, it was back, crawling around, hidden in the rocks and everything, like crayfish typically are. So I think it's probably no longer paper shell. It's probably got a nice solid shell by now. So why I've got none of them out is kind of beyond me. That seems a little odd. I'm not really sure what's going on. Well, I can actually see the big one that's under the center rock there is chewing on and eating on the sloughed shell from the other one. So that's why he's not coming out. He's already got a nice meal. So alright, I guess that's going to be it. No crayfish in this video, and I don't see the sculpin that's in this tank. I also have a mottled sculpin, which is a really interesting looking fish. Now that one I am still a little bit concerned about. For all of the stuff I've put in this tank, all of the different bloodworms and mysis shrimp, I've put shrimp pellets, I put sinking granules, I do the flake food, and as of yet I've not actually seen that sculpin eat anything. It still looks healthy enough. It doesn't look like it's becoming emaciated or anything, but I haven't actually witnessed it eat anything. So if it is eating something, I don't know what it is yet. I do have snails in this tank, so that's a possibility. It could be eating some snails, but there's not many snails in this tank. It's not getting a lot of food if that's all it's eating. So anyway, that is my only concern with this tank at the moment. Is that sculpin may not be eating properly. Other than that, everything is going swimmingly in this tank, no pun intended. My crayfish have not escaped. My little Lexan pieces that I put on the corners where the electric cables come in have been doing their thing effectively. I noticed one of them the other day was in a slightly different position, and I think one of the crayfish had crawled up and sort of knocked it out of the way a little bit. But all in all, it held, and the crayfish didn't get out, or at least not that I know of. So there you go, everybody. Like I said, that's just a little Thanksgiving dinner for my fishies in there. Sorry I didn't get any crayfish, but that's how it goes sometimes. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you real soon in the next one.